FOB business graduated. Then we have also Ahmad Johan first year. Okay, keep going. So what I'm going to share today is basically starting a business without capital. I would like to start with introducing myself. I started business. I was a student of Inti Nilai many years ago, graduated in 2004. So I started working with companies for about 3 to 5 years. Then I started my own business in 2010. Yeah, in 2010. So the time I started event management business, yeah. And when I start event management business, it's called Mr. Mind International. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now. So of course, the first step is about setting up your business and setting up all your business identity. So as a student, like you all last time, right? As a student, I have no idea where to start, how to start, and I have no idea what is quotation. I have no idea what is invoice. When customer agree to pay me, use my service, right? I don't know what to do next. So these are the common questions that I have in mind when I first started my business. So I have to Google. I have to ask my friends. I don't have mentors, so I need to Google a lot. And that time, I don't know what is about enterprise. I don't know what is Sdn Bhd, partnership, or maybe Berhad. I don't know anything at all. So I have to type online. I have to search here what is quotation, what is invoice, and delivery order, and a lot more. So of course, time to time, I learn along the way. There are many things like purchase order, delivery order. There are many things. So what you need to do, basically just search online and search business documents, a type of business documents, and you see a lot of things. Just learn from there. That's how I learned last time. But now, after 10 to 15 years down the road, I don't need to learn all this anymore. Of course, I need to know. So what I do is I outsource to my company secretary. Okay. So let's not go too far yet. Back to basic. When I first started my company, I had to think for a name. So of course, I use the name Mr. Mind International. Why international? Because I want to go far. I'm thinking very big picture, but we do one step at a time. And why is it Mr. Mind? Because I don't want to use the word mastermind. It sounds too strong. Mastermind is too strong. Like you are above everything, which is not so good. So I changed the mastermind into Mr. Mind. And why I use Mr. Mind? Because it's niche. Unlike other event company, they use event professional. The names are very common. Customers don't remember you. So I use this niche name, and then I registered Senang Berhad. So why I put an M here? Because Malaysia, then Senang Berhad. And it depends on your business type. If you're doing a home-based business, and you do not need to register for Senang Berhad, because there are a lot of commitment for Senang Berhad. You need to pay audit fee, taxation fee, and a lot of costs, about 5 to 8,000 per year. Depends on your turnover. So if you're doing a home business or maybe a micro business, which is also good, maybe you want to aim for target 100,000 per year, or maybe 1 million per year, or 5 million per year. So you have to decide what type of company you want to start. Maybe enterprise is just good to start. To be honest, before I start Sdn Bhd, right, I work from home, one man show. Everything I set up, I get customers, I go for site operations. I was using enterprise before I changed to Sdn Bhd. Okay, so this is how I get started, Mr. Mind. And then second year, I registered a second company, which is Talent Bank. So come back to the topic, starting a business without capital. So I was browsing my Facebook yesterday. I saw this post. I posted last year. You don't need the capital to start a business. So New Ladies Carnival was my first project at Mr. Mind International. I drove all the way to Putrajaya to find out how do I register MOF. So don't worry about the content, because it's just for the message I want to deliver to my, because why I write this post, because the ticket to entrepreneurship roller coaster, right? I'm putting content, a small piece of content, because in future I want to publish a book for this entrepreneurship journey. Okay. So that was a 6-figure job. I figured out, and I couldn't afford 50,000 down payment to my canopy and carpentry suppliers. No payment term, because if you're not sure what is payment term, just leave it there, and then I'll reply to you later. I had to borrow from my family and friends, pay the suppliers, and delivered the event. Okay, I will definitely not repeat the same mistake. Then all this is about my experience in event management. So it's about getting paid. Yeah, because the project is about 270,000 doing this for the government. So it was my very first project. And of course, this project, I landed this project through my customer service from my previous company. The customer want to come to me instead of go to previous company because of the customer service. So this is also telling you, if you are working with someone, or maybe in future, like first year student, if you're working with somebody else, um, try to give your 110% because you don't know what are the future opportunities. So please give your best to the customers so the customers remember you and give you jobs without any um, just give you jobs lah. Okay, so I got this job, and of course it's a setup that I need down payment. So how do I start this? I have to figure out ways. For example, of course, before I take this job, I have many previous jobs. I do setups for Hugo Boss in Pavilion. I do this opening for Agner. You know Pavilion, right? Pavilion KL Shopping in front of the luxury, luxury shops, the brands, right? Hermes and many of the brands. I done about 5 to 6 openings for all of them. So I have to park at the car at the roadside to do meetup setup. So that was uh, my jobs that customers awarded to me. How do I get my down payment? The first round. When I started Mr. Mike International, when I registered the company, I have to I have to do a lot of work, like for example, carpeting. Maybe I charge customers about 400 ringgit. Then of course, event management. I have to manage my cost very well properly, so I have a high margin. So cash flow is very important to run your business. So you can pay yourself and you have to pay a supplier for payment terms. Of course, uh, after all this one, accumulate everything. Small jobs, small jobs, small jobs, small jobs. Then you try to pitch for bigger jobs. How do you find opportunities? There are many opportunities out there. A lot of new business owner usually they just post on Facebook and they wait. Maybe they post on group and say, I'm selling this. So they hope for someone to contact them. But there are many ways you can actually go active as well instead of passive. For example, any of the enterprise companies, if any of you starting any new businesses, enterprise companies, if you want to, depends on your yeah, there you go. Just keep sending me chat if you have any questions. So one of the ways when I first started Mr. Mind, right, I also registered with Ministry of Finance Malaysia. So this is what I did. I registered for tender to you notifications. So I registered for these MOF codes. So I bid for bigger jobs. That's one of the reasons I get the job for Ministry of Women. The one I showed you just now. So this is the tender notifications. And I just click in. So this is how it looks like. Sebut harga, terjemahan this translation, article Melayu English, Malay bahasa to English. So when you have this job, right, just check if you have all these MOF codes. If you have, then if you think you can do, you bid for this job by going into this link. So this is one of the way you can go active, reach out. Okay. So of course, after Mr. Mind, I keep bidding for more and more jobs, and eventually along the way, I got more opportunities. I get to know people from Star Hill Gallery, and they keep giving me jobs all the for 2 to 3 years. I did a journey through time, the watch exhibition, luxury watch exhibition in Star Hill Gallery. Then I also did a lot of events. So of course, after in events for many years, I understand that um, uh, after in events for many years, I did projects. Let me show you this photo. A lot of new startups, right? Usually they have problem on getting customers, raising funds, and also maybe some technical help or maybe good suppliers. So fortunately, I have good suppliers helping me, and of course, I my reputation I gained. My friend actually introduced me to this company called Longines. Longines is under Swatch Group. So if you bought any Swatch watch before, they have a lot of brands with them, Omega and many of them. So I get a chance to pitch for the job, and I did opening for Lin Ziling, Eddie Peng, and Aishwarya Rai from India. So all the opening in KLCC Pavilion, I did all this opening. So of course, all these brands gave me another portfolio for me to pitch for more and more customers in down the road. So understanding events is very tiring because a lot of midnight setup, a lot of last minute problem. For example, um, shopping malls might give you problem at midnight, but you don't know how to solve. You need reliable supplier to solve it for you. So after so many years, I found that very tired. Uh, I did event management from 2010 until 2015, about 2015. So in 2012, I noticed that I cannot forever pitch for all these jobs because whenever we pitch, we have costs to make the drawing, the 3D drawing, we have costs, pay designers, and if we don't win the job, basically a cost wasted. And so we have to pivot. So I started pivot to many things. Now I'm currently running a business called Talent Bank. In Talent Bank, we have maybe about 4 to 5 products. But before this, a lot of people think business is actually very glamour. It's very glamour. It's very giving a lot of money. You live a good life. But in fact, business is actually not as good as you see. It's only surface. But a lot of people think business is actually glamour and nice. But along the way down, in the past 10 years, right? Actually, in business, it's an up and down roller coaster. So if you have done any business before, you know what I meant. Because if you're making millions right now, it doesn't mean you're gonna make millions next year. So if you don't know what to foresee. If even you forecasted, pandemic came and that's all. So these are the issues that, or maybe these are the perseverance needed by entrepreneurs. And after chatting with so many entrepreneurs, business partners, and many friends, right? I I noticed that not everybody is suitable to be a business owner, entrepreneur. Yeah. Um, you need to manage many things. You need to face a lot of difficulties, solve challenges, and also you need to monitor your cash flow. Okay. Do we have any questions so far? Just put in the chat or you can unmute.
Ben, I have a question. So when you talk about managed cash flow, right? So any good advice for the students on how much cash flow is enough?
Talking about cash flow, so cash flow is about you have to make sure monitor your expenses for the next 6 months. For example, let's say you have some fixed costs. Like, for example, our business we have fixed costs like we are using some SaaS software, SaaS software. We are even using a HubSpot. So we're using HubSpot to manage our customers to make sure we know their lifespan, their product life cycle. So we know when last contacted. So these are all the fixed costs that we have. Then you have salary. You also have maybe some interns. So these are the things you need to manage. And let's say, for example, you have to spend 5,000 every month. So you have to make sure you have enough cash on hand to pay to roll that 5,000, which means your revenue have to come in consistently. Okay, a lot of business owners they think profit is everything, but cash flow is even more important because without cash flow, your business cannot survive. So why some students, when new startups, they cannot pay for salary because they got not enough cash flow, then they have to stop. So the cash flow issue. So that's why time to time, I always start new business because I want to have new revenue stream coming in. For example, I started event management company 10 years ago. Without starting career tour, which is now called Talent Bank. We are still in the event management industry for the last 15 years. Yeah, and we were stuck during pandemic because you can't do any events during pandemic. So we always have to pivot, not staying comfortable, and that's all. So that's why in other talent bank we have many projects. For example, business awards. We also have education trainings. Then we also have many other things. So you have different source of income. That is to feed your cash flow. So of course, for students here, for your benefit, as a business owner, you don't need to know everything. You basically don't need to know everything. For example, I don't know anything about accounting. I don't know anything about taxation, or maybe I don't know anything about business setup. I don't know what is SSM Form 9, Form 49, all these things. So what I do, whenever any customers ask for this, I pass it to my company secretary, and they'll solve it. They'll prepare the form for me, then I'll forward over. So as a business owner, basically you don't need to know everything. You just need to know why you want to do this. So you can hire someone who know how to do it. For example, I want to set up this background, but I don't know how to do it, right? But I know why I want to do it because customers want to do shop opening. Then I hire my carpenters to do the background setup because they know how. So as a student entrepreneur, you want to start something, right? First of all, need to know why. And when you start business, there are many reasons. Some of them they want to start because just want to make profit to pay their own salary. Some want to start because of the glamour. They feel I'm an entrepreneur. I can tell my friends. I feel good. So it depends on many factors. Why do you want to start a business? And it's not as glamour as you think. It can be a suffering journey. Maybe not in 2 years later, but maybe 5 years later or 10 years later. Okay. Then when you start a business, always learn how to kill the business when it's on the right time. A lot of entrepreneurs they actually shocks and injury. They run the business but not making profit or not having good cash flow. They are not killing the business yet and they continue for 2 to 3 years. In the end, it's not making anything for him except that shocks and injury. So you have to set a timeline. For example, if you start a business, a kedai or maybe a printing shop. So if 1 year you have to target 1 year, in 1 year time, I have to make a cumulative of 1 million sales in sales. 1 million sales, which means if customers paying you. So you have to work backwards. 1 million sales, how much in a month? How much in a day? How many people need to print in a day? So after calculating all these, if 1 year you don't reach the target, you cut the business. Kill it off. Don't touch anymore. So you need to set a timeline to cut. For example, I started many businesses, about 20 to 30 in the past. So I also burned some money there. Of course, I cut. Otherwise, I will keep bleeding. Even one case, I want to develop wedding app because in Malaysia, a lot of people want to get married. They have to do a lot of manual work. So they have to contact restaurants. They have to do table arrangement, Excel sheet. So I put everything to the app. I hired developer for 100,000. So we completed. Then we exhibit in Mid Valley, PJ Wedding Fair. We paid for the booth for 10,000 ringgit, and then we get zero sales. I'm selling for 199 only, one time use. So a lot of couples came to us, but none of them purchased. So I know this is a failed project. I cut it off. So I wasted about 100 to 150,000. So these are all the R&D costs and development costs. Okay. Any questions from students? Give me some case studies or maybe some challenges you face when you start business.
I think the students is being very quiet. Okay, I'll give you something. Ben, is it necessary to burn that amount of money in order to evaluate on the idea or the solution that's working? Is there any way to based on your experience, is there any way to reduce the money burning process?
It depends. It depends on your comfort level. So some students you may have savings or maybe you have maybe 2,000 ringgit as a start, maybe 5,000 ringgit. And you have to think, if you burn that 5,000, if you invest that 5,000, we don't say burn, invest that 5,000 into business. How confident are you? A lot of business owners, the mistakes they make is actually they are overconfident. They think, okay, my business idea is the best in the world. I'm sure it will work. It will make 5,000. I will make, if I invest 5,000, I'll make 50,000 by the next 2 months. So um, they won't feel it until they burn their hand. So it's okay. But if you really burn your hand for the 5,000, don't give up, keep going. Because as the business owners, it's not as easy. You won't win on the first try. You have to try for many times, at least 10 to 15 times. And if you're not comfortable investing the 5,000, so you start with maybe small business, for example, trading. There are many free online ideas. Uh, Free online, you just search for free business ideas, maybe business ideas that I can start with zero capital. For example, you can actually be a deal maker. Maybe you know this customer, they need something, and you know that business they can solve something. So you be the middleman. You can do that. You don't need any capital. You basically need some connections. So how you build your connections is basically how you start your life, how you start your life in the campus. Join clubs, join societies, take up some roles. That is how you start building your connections. And that connection, you just keep building from your first year to final year and then up to graduation. And then you build at more and more. This is how you get to build trusted relationship. And that is very useful for you to do any deal making. For example, we have some projects, some products. We are looking for affiliates. So those affiliates can be students, can be any freelancers out there. We brief them, we train them, we give them email account. They make us some deals, they get 15% commission. So those are actually a good start. Make commission from there as your capital, then start your business in future. Or maybe one of the ways you can actually, for example, some students you want to be entrepreneur but don't have capital yet. So you join internship with any companies, but you select carefully. You select companies that small in size. You want to learn from the founder, because that 3 months time is where you actually learn every single detail. For example, how they manage their customer database, how they manage their softwares, or how they manage the costs, or maybe how to manage the customers. So this is how you learn to be an entrepreneur. But during your internship, if you join bigger companies, for example, MNC, you won't be able to see all this already. So you can only learn from Google. Okay. So of course, running a business, you need to also know how much revenue you want to make a year. What is your target? Is 10,000 comfortable to you as a part-time income? Let's say you're still a student, maybe 10,000 is just enough. Let's say you want to target 100,000, which maybe you get about 8,000 per month. So maybe that is a decent salary. But what if you're starting hiring? If you need manpower, when you hire one manpower, can the manpower make you more? For example, one person make 100,000, two person can you make 300,000? So you have to figure out and do your costing. But it depends also on your industry, because some industry can scale, some industry cannot scale. For example, car wash, you need manpower, but you can only charge about 15 ringgit per wash. So you need to sell maybe your polishing so you can make more. But how many customers willing to do polishing? And you also need to make sure your car wash is actually clean, got aircon, and those are costs. So if you invest costs and no customers come in, then how? So these are actually a balance. You need a balance. So of course, businesses that, okay, let's change another perspective. Let's say a business like, for example, you need only 3 manpower, but every sales you sell is about 10 to 20,000. That is a different story. So every sale you make, you actually make a good margin, and then you can hire more and duplicate. Okay. So we have questions from Vivian. How to know if a business idea may not be a good one? So you need to also don't be shy to ask. So this is also an opportunity for you to tell me what's a business idea. Then we can share. Because all of us, we have only about 25 of us here. We are still learning. So you post the question to me. Let me know what business are you in, and maybe what challenges you face. We can fix it. Great. Otherwise, you can also I have one friend. He has one group. entrepreneurs and startup in Malaysia. This group is very reliable. This group. This is our entrepreneurs group. 64K members. Post in the group and tell them what's the problem, and many people will give you some solutions. But just don't be shy to post, because a lot of people having issue, they just post here and you'll get answers. For example, how do I do my first hire? Or maybe how do I manage my cash flow? A lot of entrepreneurs here, they'll give you some suggestions. Okay. Then from Surendran, how to know if good business idea? Okay. Someone asked me before. They asked me this question. What is a business? So at first I thought a business is to make profit. So that is the wrong answer. A business is actually to solve customers' problem, and customers will happily pay you after this. So that is a business. It's about solving customers' problem. Can be any problem. For example, you go manicure, pedicure, you want to do manicure, pedicure, that's a problem. Then the shop will solve your problem and you pay. So of course, let's say an employer, for example, telecom. So let's say they want to hire cream of the crop, best of the best student, but they cannot find. So maybe they come to us and say, Ben, we have this problem. We want to hire 10 best students from MMU, but we couldn't find them. Okay, I'm just taking for example. I know they are affiliated. So let's say they come to me and say they want to get best 10 from MMU. So of course, I have to find my ways to work with MMU, or I have to find my ways to reach out the students directly, and then I filter for them and I pass it to TM. Then they'll pay me accordingly to my professional fee. So that is to solve customers' problem. So if your business idea is not solving customers' problem, then that is a shock and delivery product. And it can be also food. If you think your food is good, but food is too competitive, you have to be niche. Then food is about packaging. So if you think food is a solving customers' problem, but it depends also. If it's a snack, maybe not now. But if it's a low cost food that you can sell to B40 families and they can actually survive through this period, and that is a solving the problem. Okay. And then you need to identify your customers. So there are also many ways to identify your business also. Some business coach, right, they use this business canvas, business model canvas. I'm not sure if you've heard of this. So this business model canvas, yeah, there are many there are templates online. You can just go online and check for this template. For example, Uber. Okay. So these business models, okay, I'm just maybe, yeah, I think you can see, right? Okay. Okay. Yeah, I just read out. So of course, key partners, you need to know who are your key partners. Key activities, what business you want to, what business activities you want to do. Then resources, maybe your suppliers, your your materials, your ingredients. Then value proposition, how do you differentiate? Then customer relationship, channels, how do you plan to sell? Maybe Shopee, maybe Lazada, maybe resellers. Customer segments, let's say if you're doing food, right? Targeting maybe what's the age? Teenagers, elderly. Then cost structure, what are the costs? For example, you have payroll, which is salary. Then you have a lot of things, marketing. Maybe you have tech platform. Yeah. So for example, SaaS software, and then revenue streams. You can sell maybe you are doing food, right? You can sell, or maybe you can also do other revenue streams. So there are many ways you can do. Start with business model canvas. But to be honest, to me, when I first started business, I don't know what is business model canvas. I just start buta buta. So I just start based on what I want to do. And I think at first, to be honest, when I start Mr. Mind, right, it's just for profit, just for because I want to sustain my salary, and then I start. So when I people into Talent Bank, I started to plan out what's the value I want to create. I want to create for the universities. I want to create the value for the market and also the employability ecosystem. So just remember one thing: when you be entrepreneur, right, don't think of the profit first, because if you think of the problem solving first, then the profit will come after this. But if you think for profit first, is is the other way. But if you think problem solving first, the profit is actually bigger later on, because when people need to get you to solve that problem, which means your business is actually needed. Okay. We even say, me and my team wants to develop an app to do a prayer habit tracking app, get people to actually pay for using. But this is for Muslims, right? I think, okay, you see my first impression, a praying app, okay, for Muslims. So, Vivian, don't mind asking, are you Muslims? Do you understand about their um, their praying schedule? So, okay, the first impression I have is actually when she told me the idea, right? The first impression is that it's not niche enough. There are many players in the market already there. So I do a quick search here, praying mobile app. Okay, your team, yes. So there are many things you need to consider. I'll share one by one. So for the rest of the audience here, you have any ideas, just post in a group like this. Yeah, go ahead. Keep coming. Don't stop. So of course we have prayer mate, we have Muslim Pro, we also have many things. So you can see if you have this, it's a good thinking by the way, but it's a good thinking. The pros and cons, I tell you the pros first. There are many Muslims in Malaysia, majority about 70%, which is a good market, but maybe the size is not big enough because talking about 32 million Malaysians, maybe the size is not good enough. So you have to target worldwide. So worldwide is a huge market, up to billion Muslims. So that is a good thing, and because they are already in the market. So you have to find your niche. Why do you want to start this? How do you actually intend to get prepared to stand off the rest? Because they're already there, and uh, they're already there long in the market. Maybe you just try in the later on your phone, right? You search for Muslim trading app. You see how many are there and how many downloads, so you know how competitive you are. Because the moment you start to build this project, there are many considerations. For example, invest into how many of you? Maybe four of you. Of course, if you still a student, you have allowances from parents, or maybe you have to make money through this app. So how much you need to pay yourself per month? Those are the costs. And then hire developer. Of course, building internally is good. There are many softwares online to help you build DIY. It's good. But if you start outsourcing to Malaysia developer, it will cost you about 100,000 to 200,000 to complete entirely. Phase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, up to the end, maybe it will cost you about 300,000. Okay, developers. Are they student developers or professional developers? Okay, so yeah, student developer. It's good to start as a prototype, the in-house development. But when you're first developing, I share you my mistakes. When I start developing the wedding app, I have no idea in mind. I just tell the designer, okay, today I want this, next day I want this, then change here and there. So a lot of man hour wasted. You need to make your what is this again? Um, prototype. You need to make this I can't remember what it's called. You need to make sure make your layout. After you click this, where do you go? After you click this, where do you go? So you need to have that. It's good to start as a prototype, and prototype get some users as attraction, then you get investors. Otherwise, if you bootstrap all the way, you have to it's going to cost you a lot. Even after you've graduated, of course you start looking for income, about 3,000 per month. But if you fully rely on this app, you'll struggle a lot. So you have to start building prototype first. Don't aim for competition during this time because you need to study. You won't be able to compete perfectly. So just prototype first. Make sure one feature or two features enough to keep roll, and then get users, get your friends, get your students, get them to use it. Do this, yeah, do this layout design. So the prototype, if you get enough users, then you get investors. I'm sure investors would like this because big market, very big market. In fact, I have one product I want to start very soon. It's called World Halal Brands. I I'm not Muslims, but I know the market is very big. So I want to target the World Halal Brands market also. Halal is very big market. Okay. So now let's go to Surendran. It's grocery delivery service for B40. So are you looking for B40 to deliver the goods, or you want to deliver the goods to B40? And but the grocery delivery service, I'm not sure about this market yet, but I've seen many brands in the market starting more and more. So please go ahead and study, do research first. See how many brands are there. Honestbee, Grab, Asia, and if you're talking about being a service provider, uh, actually I thought of this idea as well. But why I do not want to start, because Asia is going to be coming in with a very low price. So we don't have that capital to compete. So no point. Not niche enough. So always think of a niche idea to go in. Don't don't think of the something that people have already done. Okay. Then Suhong, selling shoelace as a luxury brand to teen and young adults above 25 years old. Healthcare industry. Shoelace is a luxury brand. Why sell to healthcare industry? Because they are luxury brand and shoelace. How is it related to health? So
Okay, so it's something like this.
yep.
Actually, we sold it to in Shopee,
Hmm,
but we found out that most of our customer size are those older adults that are working because it's
okay.
a slip-on shoelace. Usually,
Hmm,
we need to tie our shoelace,
hmm,
but ours is turning into a slip-on, so you don't need to like bend down and actually like tie your shoelace and so on.
hmm,
It, but the thing is that we actually selling it to the teens and young adults,
hmm,
but they how to say they are because it's not a famous a brand that is seen in the market. They're more lean towards Adidas and so on.
hmm,
But the older but the older generations or the working adults sees the functions of it, so they buy it for the function, not because of the brand.
hmm.
So we were thinking like, would it be a good idea to actually like go to the healthcare industry instead? So we are now debating whether to pivot or to expand our market instead.
Hmm. Why? Okay. First of all, I need to look at the product. What is the product name again? And why is it
Okay,
related to
hold
healthcare?
on here. Well, for back problems actually.
Again?
It's a solution for those with back problems, with back
Okay.
issues, back aches. Wait,
Okay.
hold
Can
on.
you post your Shopee link at the chat? Then we look at the
Yeah,
link. Okay, I got it. Next list. Next list.
it's all sold out already.
Oh wow. Okay. It's loading. Okay. So you OEM from someone and then you make it your brand and then you sell.
Yeah, something
It's
like
good
that.
for.
But we actually added another feature because the stopper wasn't that good. We actually make some improvements to it so
Hmm.
it doesn't fall off.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, for my first impression, right? I think the brand looks good. Looks like a professional brand. Everything by your team, is it? By your colleague?
Oh yes, yes.
Is it all started by your friends and you?
I would say that one person started first, and then
Hmm.
the co-founders jumped in because the original founder was like a one-man show. He was
Hmm.
selling it on the first version, and he just lost money. But on the second version, which is uh what you are looking at right now, he actually sold it without any ads. We just leave it there and just give maybe like 10 ringgit of Shopee ads like that, and sales just keeps on coming in and just sold out. And he
Okay.
realized that he needs more members, so we actually jumped in.
Okay. I think this one it's not, I don't know, but you should not relate to healthcare. You should relate to the sports market, the runners, the yeah, the runners, because nowadays a lot of runners, more and more runners during the this pandemic. So if you're on Strava, you see a lot of runners, they're running almost every week. So you target the runners, or maybe you collaborate with those brands. Do you have competitors?
Okay, that's fair. Competitors, I think we got one competitor, but we are not worried about that because our product are more improvised. They
Mm,
are much our quality is much better than, but we are more afraid of the larger companies, whereby they will
mm,
see the value in slip-ons instead of the usual tying shoelace instead, because
mm,
it's easier for them to pivot to just change it to slip-ons instead of the tying type.
mm. You mean slip
Yeah,
on, you don't have shoelace at all?
yeah. It's in the video. It's basically how to say, we
Mm.
just I need to click.
Okay, it's inside this video, yeah.
Hmm.
We try to collaborate with brands, for example, any sporting brands or maybe collaboration. You can do more sales. But I think your 15 ringgit is okay lah. You can sell a bit higher. Maybe you have some
Yeah,
premium version, you can sell a bit higher.
actually, the pricing is like way too low. We noticed it, so
Mm,
we are planning to sell much more around like because we improvised it already. It costs around like another, so we actually plan to sell it at 38 actually, 38 to
mm,
30, because it solves a huge problem actually for the backache and actually usually the shoe how to say, going mountain climbing or hiking,
mm,
usually those people who actually tie the shoelace will actually come off. So we found out that this one is actually safer because it doesn't come off. It just locks
mm.
it in place.
Yep. Yeah, maybe what you can do is to collaborate with other brands or maybe some athletes, some hiking
Collaborate.
athletes, running athletes. Just give it to them to do some posting. Let them try.
Collaborate.
Yeah, but your
Okay.
pricing can go up a bit more. But I think 30 to 40 is too expensive.
All right. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
because for this product, this pricing, right, this pricing range, right, you need to have volume. 534. Yeah, you need to have volume.
These are volume. All right.
Especially you have so many co-founders.
Oh yes. Actually we got around like 5 people. Team
Yeah.
of 5. Yeah.
See, you need to scale up, need to have some endorsement, then you need to sell by volume. Otherwise, you cannot sustain your cash flow.
All right.
Mm,
Thank you.
okay. Let me know if you have more questions. For Surendran, how to find a niche idea, right? Is to explore on a day-to-day basis. You need to watch in the market, read some news, and then understand the market. For example, if you know during the pandemic. So if you know this issue earlier, maybe you'll come with a healthcare brand or maybe some medical devices, for example, oximeter. So now oximeter, a lot of people are buying oximeter for their home. So if you know all these business ideas, right, then you can actually tap into this market. We call it niche. But if you're still going into grocery delivery, all this is no longer niche. Otherwise, because why I say niche, if you're not niche, not niche enough, right? You have to compete with many people, which is very tiring, and you have to spend more ads budget. You have to spend more marketing budget or maybe effort. But if it's niche, it's very easy. Just you or maybe another player. That's all. Much easier. Okay. Of course, you also want your business to grow, lah. If it's niche. Any more questions for me? So of course, time to time, I also I don't stop. So what I do is actually for students, I have this routine. So this is my practice. I go Google Trends. I always search for what people are searching on internet. So this is one of the trick you can also do. You want to understand what Malaysians are searching in the last 6 months, so you know what product you can actually provide. So this is one of the trick you can understand the market trend. Just go to Malaysia, then you search for, you see what are the search trend for the last 6 months. For example, now maybe United States, Taylor Swift, Kim, World Cup, football, all these. These are the examples. Okay. Now you see trending. No, Martin, Bobcat, recently Bobcat. I also don't know what is Bobcat. So what I did is Google, then the cat came out. So more trending searches, Ismail Sabri, all this came out. Okay. I thought Bobcat is related to COVID or maybe politics, but it's just a cat. So now you see daily search trends, right? Malaysia. No. So let's go down 15 Anwar, Juventus, all this. So I usually search all these MBSB. Okay, yeah, COVID this morning. Then all this is actually sporting news. So try to find something niche, or maybe if you're in sporting news, right? Like for example, Su Hong, you know these are all actually your product can be tied with all these sporting news. So try to think of the way that for some collaboration or maybe cross collaboration. Yeah.
Cross collaboration. Okay.
Sunday. So keep searching. Muhyiddin is here. It's all the sporting news lah. Sujin, okay. Sporting news. So what I did is I keep searching all the way, and I actually did some search on some topics. For example, uh, maybe shoelaces. Okay. So I know how many searches like are there. Are people in Malaysia they are looking for this service or not, this product or not? So I understand. At least I understand. I don't guess. Okay, past 12 months, shoelaces. Or maybe you want to be specific, you just put in more keywords. Interest over time. I think it's still loading. Yeah. Okay. So you see, this is actually about 25%. Then this is 100. So you know, recently they are searching for shoelaces. July, just last month. But all the while it's actually quite low because this is real because not many runners or maybe people are not going out. But if you try in the last 5 years, you want to prove, right? Let's prove it. We see if it's higher or not. I'm in the recruitment business and also the university business. What I did, I always search for university keyword. I see it's lower down. So this is already telling you during the pandemic, people are not running as much, not going out as much. So it's lowering here. So I'm in the business of university and recruitment business. I always just use this university. I want to understand, are parents still searching to enroll into university or not? Or maybe are employees still looking for hiring or not? So I use these two to help me. So for students here, if you want to find out any business ideas, just keep playing with Google Trend maybe every Sunday. Just keep playing and understand. Once you find a niche, for example, if you find a keyword 75 to 100 all the way, or maybe they are always low, but now they are on top. For example, COVID, of course. So when you search for COVID, it shows up. If you find this pattern, and this is a niche, okay, this is already a niche, and you have to enter the market fast. So let's say you notice you know the COVID is happening, right? You start something here, you make tons of money over here. So this is how you find your niche. Don't go something that is already there for a long time, and then you enter the market, then you'll suffer, you'll struggle. Number 3. I think number 2 yesterday. Okay. More questions for me? And you get a lot of business ideas over here as well. Just browse this page, follow this page. There you go. Okay. Just follow this page and you can see some actually asking business ideas. Yeah? For example, okay, currently I'm matching unemployed with entrepreneurs. If you're planning to hire a worker, so from this content, you know this is an idea yet that you might have the skill, but you might not don't have the resources. You might don't have the connection. So what you do, maybe you're a student leader in the MMU. Okay. For example, you can start a business, collect all your friends. For example, maybe you just talk to them, hey, I have this opportunity. Okay, let me start this again. Maybe you saw this post and you have this business that you have very good connection in MMU. So you want to start a business to introduce your friends to employers, but you don't have employers, right? You don't have capital, right? That's okay. Leverage connection, leverage some reach out, call. For example, you start a business and you know PM they need to hire your student, your friends, right? Or maybe you know maybe some banks, Maybank, CIB Bank. So you collect resumes from all your friends, and then you have these top 5 friends, and then you collect all five friends, right? You send email to this TM HR or maybe these banks, and then you charge them accordingly. So this is how you start leverage connection. You see, all the while, right? No capital needed. Basically, a connection, some work. Maybe you need a form online. You need a simple website. Get your friends to deposit resume and tell them, hey, I can get you job. So this is my service. Okay. So you introduce the employers and then you make money from there. Of course, you don't know how much to charge the employers, right? Very simple. Go online, Google, and search how much should I charge for a candidate referral fee. So there are many answers online. For entrepreneurs, you have to search answers by yourself. Okay. Another way, after you collect all the resumes, right? Contact people like us, Talent Bank, Grad1, or maybe GTI Media. Talk to them and say, hi, Talent Bank, we have these 30 students. They are actually under Dean's list. They have CGPA 4.0, and they are actually a president of which club, and they are actually top performers. I would like to work together with you, Talent Bank, to introduce these students to employers, and uh, let's work for profit sharing. So these are actually many ways. Okay, just figure out opportunities out there. What you need to do is just a call. Don't be shy because nowadays a lot of students, right? They assume that they'll get rejection. So don't try to avoid that. Try to avoid that rejection thoughts because you won't know before you try. Even before I know MMU, Antik Bakhtiar, he's also here. Then before I know MMU, I actually call many universities before when I start business in 2012. I call Sergi, I call tailors and many of them and tell them I want to organize career fair for them. That time I don't have capital. I have only small capital, maybe like 5,000, 10,000 when I start business. So I call the university one by one, reject for 7 times to 8 times. Then after that, I keep trying non-stop. I keep trying to the few next universities and they call me back. Then this is how I started. Then we started to organize career fair. So when I organize career fair, I also don't have employer list. I have zero employee contacts. I invested 3,000 ringgit. I still remember this. I invested 3,000 ringgit to send these letters, put a stamp, I post out to the company's HR department. Then they reply. Because letters, right? Nowadays people email, I send letters. I'm still using that method today to reach out but to employers using letters. So this is one of the ways. If you really want to work with that company, for example, if you want to, for example, if you have business idea, you want to work with Shell collaboration, write a letter, post in, don't email because email will don't know. First of all, you cannot find that email. You will reach out to general and general don't know, maybe go to somewhere. But if you post a letter, you send it specifically to HR director or maybe CEO, then that letter will become an opportunity to you. So there are many ways. Hey, any questions for me? best marketing strategy for startup, to be honest, word of mouth. To me, up to now, right, many businesses is word of mouth. So no matter what you do, you need to collect testimony, need to collect reviews, need to collect. For example, now some businesses they actually use Google reviews. So use Google reviews to give you stars, or maybe yeah, word of mouth. You need to get people to tell you something. Like how Uber and Grab started, they have this. I introduce you, you get 10 ringgit, I get 10 ringgit. So use the word of mouth method. Even Suhong, you can actually sell this, and then you give this voucher to your customers, 1 to 2 ringgit, and then maybe they gave it to their friends. But try to make it not printed. Try to make it virtual. It's easier to share because nowadays people are lazy. So make it virtual. Make it an e-voucher. For example, referral factory or maybe viral sweep. Many other softwares online they can do that. They can track for you. Okay, and for another thing I want to share is for students, right? When you start business, try to automate everything. If you can do it, if one person on a daily basis I need to sit down and do a repeated work, right? That is actually a redundant role to me. Because if it's a repeated task, for example, posting on Facebook on a weekly basis, that is actually automated. You can actually automate it. You just schedule everything, then schedule the next few weeks, post for you. So try to automate everything, including your email, your data entry, your emails, your campaigns, and marketing. So try to automate everything. For example, I show you one thing. We have this email system. We use HubSpot, right? HubSpot is free for start, so you can actually use HubSpot for free. This is our email system. We are using Gmail. Okay. This for example, let's say I email to Encik Bakia. Okay. So here, let's say I send this email out, right? I key in the email, it will call the email out from my system. So what I want to tell is actually here, you see this HubSpot on the right, you will actually track the email sent and also tell me when I send email to Encik Bakia. So in the next few years down the road, I know when I send email out and I know what I send out. So these are the things very useful for my customers. For example, let's say I want to send to CIMB Bank. Okay, Lisa. So when I send to her, the system will track the log, log, on the right. Look at the right. So the system will track and tell me if she's already open, or maybe this system will also tell me when I send this email and what content I send. And it will also help me to create a deal in my HubSpot to tell me this is already a new deal. New deal means new business. Okay. So if you can automate it, don't manual. Any more new business ideas you want to share with me? Any challenges? To start a business without capital, there are many ways. Not only network, you have to start, you have to understand the market, you have to make sure your brand is good. Because if your brand, there are many mistakes in the market. I saw many startups, not considered mistake, but to me, I'm a very brand person. I need the startup to be a branded, very niche. It has to be a strong brand. Otherwise, no matter how you push, you will just stepping at the same ground. So not only building a network, you have to know why you want to do that, and then know how you want to do that. Like what I shared with you earlier, leverage your resources at the university. Since you're in university, right? Leverage resources. Um, for example, I was from Indy. I stay in the hostel room, so I self-learned how to build this website. That time was HTML, so I have to use Microsoft. No, Dreamweaver. I've used Dreamweaver to actually build a website on my own. I self-learn, then I charge customers. So these are the things you can actually create out of nothing. So leverage all these resources as well in your campus. There are many students that actually sell some goods at university, those are okay. But if you really want to go more, want to do more, think bigger picture, research more, follow news, follow. If you need to follow, you follow the Star, the Edge, CEO Morning Brief. You can also follow Malaysia Kini for some politics news, because that is actually affecting the customer spending power. It's actually affecting us as well, because when the politics change, right, customers don't spend. So we want to understand. That's why I also read it. But remember one thing, business don't follow politics. You need to be neutral. Don't post anything about politics. Just ignore it. Read and ignore it too. Okay. Don't give your opinion on Facebook anything, because not needed, not required. Don't do that. Okay. So raising capital for business, there are also many ways, like um, investors. Investors, you can actually get angel investors. For example, if you think your business has good traction, for example, like Muslim praying app just now for Vivian. If you get traction, you can start getting investors like angel investors and get them to pump you 50,000 to 100,000 as a start. Get maybe a few investors and calculate your runway. If you need 500,000, then you calculate how many investors do you need. Get angel investor first, then only you consider getting maybe more funding. But you need to justify what do you need a fund. Okay. Then of course you can also do borrowings from the banks, maybe your family. For example, I also borrow from my mother. When I first started, I borrowed 50,000 because I've already got a project. I know it's already confirmed sales. So I borrow from my mother, and then that's like how I started. But some students, you don't have maybe you don't have maybe your mother will tell you, okay, I don't have that much. So that could be a challenge to you. If you have a proven concept, if you already have a confirmed sales, right, you're not worried at all. Use the confirmed sales, your email, your quotation, maybe your confirm your purchase order. Purchase order means the customers confirm want to buy from you, but now you don't have the capital to pay your suppliers. Use that purchase order to do some loans from your friends, maybe some other business owners, with a percentage of interest. That is one way as well, because you already have a confirmed sales. And for Su Hong, the e-voucher site is referralfactory.com, or you search for Referral Factory on Google. Any more questions from the floor? To overcome failures is basically to, of course, you need to review and see what's the failures you had, and you need to um, don't give up. The first thing is don't give up. You need to tahan lasa. Of course, the GRIT is including everything, perseverance, and also determination, and many things. So you need to have that in mind. Really tahan lasa, which means no matter what it takes, you have to make it happen. So that is very simple. But just be careful. I said that doesn't mean that you have to uh, shock century all the way, because many startups they tahan lasa, they thought, okay, I tahan lasa, but it's actually shock century all the way, which is not healthy as well. You need to know when to cut. Okay. But I have a friend. He's actually on LinkedIn. His name is Gan Teck Hui, GAN. You search for him and look for his post. He's recently having this business coaching for entrepreneurship, only 40 ringgit. So if you can join his class and pay the 40 ringgit, ask more questions. He's a business coach. I'm not. I'm just an entrepreneur. Okay. Search for Gan Teck Hui.
Okay,
More
Ben,
questions?
I have a question. I have a question for you. What do you think? Because we have I think this is more on for the technical students lah. Because I think MMU apart from having the business student, we have this group of technical students from, Faculty of Computing Informatics, Faculty of Science and Technology. These are the students that actually embark into app creation, softwares and whatnot. So, do you think that is there any trend mainly for this group of people rather than just create app, doing freelancing and creating apps for others? So what are your insights on the type of apps that maybe will be trendy somehow in this year, next year? So if the students are really interested into entrepreneurship, they can actually explore on going through this form of app.
Yeah, that's a good question. So for students who are in tech, you can do programming, right? First of all, you need to, of course, during university time, you have to make a prototype first, and then maybe you get employment with any of the companies, learn their SOP, understand first before you come out to be to run a tech company, software company. In Malaysia, I think in the next few years, I think marketplace is one of the things, but of course not Shopee or Lazada, similar. That marketplace can be another, for example, manpower. So I'm in the manpower industry, human resources. So that app can related to manpower. For example, maybe employers can do recruitment easily, or maybe one of the alumni app. Malaysia universities are lacking of alumni app, managing alumni. Now alumni app, they are actually softwares. They are in from other countries, but we don't have a localized version. And a lot of universities has been asking me, they need this software. So this is one of the things to manage alumni. And many universities, they couldn't track the alumni in the last period. Of course, they have database, but they couldn't engage them, or maybe they don't know how to maximize it. Even I'm into alumni group, I don't see any interaction. There's no interaction at all, no value. So that is one thing you can think of. Create some ideas, create some value inside, and create some projects there. LinkedIn is not for alumni. Because now universities, they don't want to use third-party software. They want to have their own system, PDPA. They want to protect their data, so they want to have their own. Even if it's a SaaS, right, it's okay. So you can have the SaaS software, and universities can use the software and pay a monthly subscription. So that's one thing is actually quite profitable because university is forever green. They will not close their door because they are education, right? So they always have to pay you. So that is one thing you can create. Okay. Then, in my opinion, for software developers, software engineers down the road, nowadays Malaysia's hourly price, when we pay any software house, is about 150 to maybe 300 ringgit per hour. But as a student, you can start with freelancing first, gain your skill, create your portfolios, maybe some customer base by freelancing on Upwork, maybe freelancing.com, freelancer.com, and many platforms. So why you want to do that? Because that is for you to build your skills. After learning from lecturers, learning from the uni, that's your skills with those customers worldwide. And that is also to train your communication skill with customers from Austria, Italy, US, many others. But the price is actually very, very, very cheap. So don't worry about the price because you can only make about 15 US dollar per hour, which is about 60 ringgit. I mentioned about Malaysian's rate just now, 150. But in Upwork, you can only charge about 60 to 90. But as a student, I think you can only price even lower, 30 to 50. So don't worry about the price, but it's about build your skills. It's about building your problem solving. All the projects we have, online career fair, our job site, we don't outsource to Malaysian company anymore. We outsource to our company, a freelancer in India. So why we do that? Of course, costing. Number two is because we only pay only when he completed. I repeat, we pay freelancer on the Astro. He complete the job, then the money released to him. So that is how it works. But in Malaysia, you have to pay 50% first. Let's say the project 100,000, 50% to him, you pay 50,000 out. So that is one thing that cash flow gone. No more 50,000 gone. you cannot pay your salary, so it's already gone. So you pay out to the Malaysia software house, and then maybe he couldn't develop, and then the project failed. That is one consideration. But if India, you just escrow the, let's say he quoted you that function for only, he quoted you that function for 3,000 ringgit. But Malaysia, you have to pay about 20,000 ringgit. And that function costs 3,000 ringgit. I escrow the 3,000 up. He complete, I release. He complete, I release. That's how I do. That is fair. So as a student in future down the road, you have to put into consideration that the this marketplace will boom, and it might affect your business if you start as a software house. It could be competitive because there are many players in the market, but there are also one way what you can do. Banks or maybe other companies in Malaysia, there are shortage of tech, tech manpower, digital marketing, data analysts, data science, maybe software programmers. So in my opinion, instead of them keep hiring this and then that person resign, hiring, resign, right? Maybe you can think of a solution. Let them outsource that piece to you as a software house. So make it as a on demand, work with companies. That's one way you can do. Okay, don't become a supplier. Don't position yourself as a supplier. You lose out along the way. And as a software house, you need to have your own product. Don't just keep coding for people and then you don't have your own product. Because the moment they stop giving you contracts, then no revenue. And even for entrepreneurs, it's very important for you to build your LinkedIn profile because it's actually your brand building. And always position yourself as a tell story about your company by you telling your name, not telling the company. So this is one of the ways that you can actually build your branding. Okay. I even started Hello Virtual because I know this pandemic market, a lot of companies, they want virtual event company. So I started this, I designed the website myself. Uh, I did myself by buying a team. Then I do edit. I hire the India developer. I edit in less than 500 ringgit. But if I get local developer, it will cost me 6,000 ringgit. See? All this project, I listed down. So list all your things here, all your experience. Any more questions from students in the if you're a software engineering student, if you are in a very if you think you're introvert, right? Don't frame yourself in that picture, in the introvert picture. Because an introvert, you can also do sales next time. You can be extrovert when it's needed. So stop thinking that. And even if you're introvert person, go out, talk to people, be extrovert. If you're extrovert, you can also be introvert as well. So in the business, you can also have two person complementing each other. For example, one person doing software programming, another person meet client, get sales. So this person deliver, that person gets sales. Because as a developer, you cannot be getting sales and then do coding yourself. That is tiring, and also you couldn't coordinate very well. And that person do sales, right? Supposed to always go and get sales. Okay, Surendran, product or service? Product you have a cost. You need to buy product, trading. So service you don't have a cost. Service you have only time cost, man-hour cost. So in costing there are many things. You need to have a like material cost, ingredient cost. But service, right, is basically your knowledge, your skills. Like code programmer is basically a service. They are not a product, they are service. They provide their knowledge. They solve problem using coding. So depends. Both it depends on your comfort level. If you think you want to invest into product like trading, maybe you have 100 ringgit, you want to buy this course, and then after you sell everything, you make 500 ringgit, then it's worth trying because your margin is high. I repeat, invest 100 ringgit, you make 500 ringgit. That is a good investment. But if you invest 100 ringgit, you make 150 ringgit, that will not sustain you for long. Okay. More questions? Wow, okay, good one. It's very long. Urban streetwear apparel. The streetwear apparel, right? The first thing is you need to find a good supplier. Have you found a good supplier yet? Especially using during this pandemic, it's very difficult to find and they couldn't produce. So if you have this idea, maybe you want to start again in 2 years' time. And then for zero capital, you can try using the method of pre-sale. For example, if you want to sell this apparel at only 30 ringgit, maybe you do your pre-sale at 20 ringgit. So you collect that pre-sale, make sure that 20 ringgit can cover your cost. Maybe your cost is only 10 ringgit. So you collect that 20 ringgit, you make profit of 10 ringgit. Okay, do a pre-sale. Like this Oxford, they have a pre-sale when they first started. But bear in mind, urban streetwear apparel is also very competitive. So this is not niche enough as well. You need to be very careful. You need to know when to cut, what is your comfort level, how much you want to reach, and how far you want to go. Okay, so I think it's already 11:30. I will do a quick wrap up for this entrepreneurship. This is not talking about although our topic is talking about starting a business without capital, but in entrepreneurship there are many things. I even have this course with me talking about introduction to entrepreneurship. We have types of entrepreneurs, unique selling point, innovation in business, factors of entrepreneur success. So there are type of business as well. So second is aspects. You need to know your stages. Are you a startup? Are you a growth? Maybe are you maybe another level? Then you need to have a skill. Skills like communicating with customers. When people complain, how do you manage it? You saw a lot online, right? Facebook. Some customers complain to the seller went mad. So these are the skills you need to actually manage. Then market research. Understand about market research. Um, do customers really need that product or not? For example, streetwear apparel, or maybe praying app. Do customers need the product and how much they are willing to pay? Because if you price it too much, they won't pay. If you price it too little, they will not making profit. So try to have a focus group. Invite maybe eight to 10 friends. Maybe you pay them 10 ringgit or maybe 20 ringgit as a start, as a appreciation. And then you ask them questions. But of course, you prepare the questions, what you want to know. Ask them, then they'll give you feedback. So you need to identify market trends, like what I show you, Google Trend just now. Then understanding the market. You need to know a target market. Like Su Hong mentioned just now, is it the teenagers or is it the working adults? So need to identify your target market. Like creating app as well, which one is the target market? Everyone. So that is actually a huge market. Supply and demand, market penetration development, business model canvas, market strategies. Yeah, these are all the information. And then, of course, drafting a business plan, then calculating our cost and revenue, business policy development, all these are all the consideration factor. Of course, we couldn't mention everything in one go in this short 2 hours time, because my course we actually deliver in 80 hours. So this is actually a very lengthy process for the entrepreneurship development. Any more questions from the floor? The last three I want to share is actually risk management. You need to understand and manage your business risk, and also non-business risk, financial risk, respond to risk, and then risk analysis process, and funding for your new business. You can do government grants. Nowadays, government is giving a lot of grants out, loans, crowdfunding, angel investors, venture capital, partner financing, factoring, and then equity. Then the last thing is to run your business sustainable. This is very important because in sustainability, right, there are many things: environmental, economic, and social. Business sustainability is talking about, let's say you start a brand, right? Today you want to start this brand, but it has to make sure it's sustainable. Let's say a lot of people, a lot of businesses, they couldn't survive up to. Let me share you this. So you just search for online, you can find this information. What is the survival rate for business 5 years or less? Look at this. Look at the answer. 20% will fail within the first year. Okay, 50% will fail within the first 5 years. So he's telling you, but 20% will fail within the first year. Yes, he's telling you, even if your business idea is very good, right? It's not necessary with success and sustain for long. You have to pass through the first 2 years. No, the first thing is first year, then 2 years, 5 years, and then 10 years. So you need to pass through all this. If you pass through the 5 years, then it's considered stable. If you pass through the 10 years, you still have a long way to go. So don't be too happy yet. But if you pass through the first and second year, you basically already proven that your idea is sustainable and good. But you need to make profit lah. If not making profit, you basically can kill it. Okay. Then why do small business fail? These are the things I always read. When I have time, I just always read Investopedia. I always look at this short content. Even I have some business I need advisory board. As a student, you might not know what's an advisory board, right? See, this is what I research, how I research. I read all these things versus board of directors. So this is how we learned last time. Okay. So there are many things you need to understand, but not necessarily you must know how, but you need to know why. Any more questions from the floor? You can also
Okay.
reach me on LinkedIn later. Here's my LinkedIn.